Hey there, Aries Sun, Aries Moon, Aries Rising. It's Maggie from Moon Directed. Before I turned on the camera, I was channeling your energy, and what I saw was a bunch of plants. Like they were wildflowers. So one of them actually looked a lot like arnica, and another one was some kind of a wild leafy plant, but they were in containers. And I thought, wow, they were just growing like crazy. So a couple of things come to mind. One, you don't really want to be contained. And two, grow where you're planted. And so maybe you are in a situation where you're feeling a little bit contained. So make the most of it, because the plants looked healthy. They looked lush. They were doing really well. And so I have a feeling that you have a lot happening for you as far as growth goes, like a lot of opportunity, because there was a lot of parts to them, lots of flowers, lots of different leaves. And so maybe you're feeling a little stretched, like you have a lot going on and it's very busy in your life. But plant where you're grown, grow where you're planted. Oh my goodness. And so here we go. This week we are starting with the overall energy of the Hierophant. So at this channel, I like to work with the energy of the moon, so that we could say we could best utilize it to move our life forward in the most productive way possible. So let's see what kind of guidance we can get on that. So the Hierophant as your overall energy. The Hierophant is about changing or rethinking or questioning, at least. Questioning the beliefs that you have always held, that this is just the way it is. But maybe that's not the way it is. Maybe there's another way to look at it. Because if you look really closely at this card, this guy is teaching about all different kinds of religions. And religion's interesting because even though there's a lot of different religions, they have a lot of things in common. And so sometimes it feels to me like we only get part of the information, we only get part of the message, and that maybe there's more to it, and doing a little stretching and exploring. You know, yes, you're in your container, but maybe you need to reach out and see where else you can find information, where else is out there to be seen. And so we walk into the week with the moon in Virgo, and this phase is nourishment. And so this is about taking care of yourself, and also about accepting the flow of abundance from the universe. So there's a lot happening here, a lot of opportunity being poured and showered down on you. And so yes, you're growing. You're obviously growing. You're growing a little wild. Maybe you're spreading out a little more than your container can hold, but that's okay, because the universe looks like it's definitely on board with that. So for guidance for this, you have fragments. And that almost feels to me like there are bits and pieces. See how her hand is raised, and so is the guy who's teaching in the Hierophant card there. But she's using her third eye. And so I feel like there's bits and pieces of information about something that you know, that you've always held as a long-held belief, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about religion. It could be about a business practice. It could be about a family situation. It could be about a relationship. This is all happening in your 6th house of work-life balance. So it could be something at home. It could be something at work. It could be something spiritual. It's all in trying to find that balance, but there's like bits and pieces, and maybe you can't quite get the whole story yet, but you're being encouraged to listen. And with their ear being in that conch shell, this is about listening to your deep inner knowing. That's part of your intuition, but this is also like really reaching in and spending a little bit of time. So maybe on Sunday, you could schedule a little time for yourself where maybe you just go for a walk in nature and you listen and see what you hear, and you check out what kind of things you see. Like, for instance, before I got started today, a groundhog came up onto the porch deck. What? So what does a groundhog mean? Well, a groundhog means that you need to dig deep and dive in and protect yourself. And so sometimes, you know, when you go for a walk in nature, you think to yourself, okay, well, I just saw this animal that I shouldn't see in this place, or I wasn't expecting to see, and what does that mean? And then you go home and you just look up on the computer. And please don't take your phone and start looking up while you're walking. Spend the time in nature. You can go home and journal and look it up, and it'll say, you know, spiritual meaning of. You know, if you see a plant that you don't know what it means, like arnica, which I saw is all about healing. So spiritual meaning of a plant that you don't know. And the other plant was about changing the air. I don't know what it's called, but it's really good for cleansing the air. And it had so many leaves. And so a breath of fresh air and healing. And so maybe getting outside would be really good for you too, because the containers were outside. Okay, so then on Monday at 2:07 a.m., the moon is going to move into Libra. And that is your 7th house of partnerships. And it's going to be there on Monday and Tuesday. And this is about finding your path. Finding your path. And because it's in Libra, it's about finding the balance and finding your path. Like, where is it you're going? What do you want to do? Assessing the situation. Remember to keep things in balance. But always be looking forward. Okay, not too far forward, of course, but a little planning is never bad. Oh my gosh. So I wanted to know, I used my chakra cards for the Libra because Libra is about balance. And I wanted to know what area that you need to work on balancing yourself in. And you have enlightenment, which is so perfect for finding the path and assessing. So get outside, spend a little time in nature. Enlightenment is about listening to your higher self, getting that information, pulling the pieces together, and all of a sudden going, wait a minute, there's so much more here than I knew about. There's just so much more to explore. There's more questions. Really good scientific minds should always go, okay, well, that's interesting, but now I have another question. You should never feel satisfied. You should always be seeking more information. And that's part of this whole process, because when that moon moves into Scorpio on Wednesday, and that happens in the morning too, so it's all day Wednesday, all day Thursday. That's in your 8th house of transformation. And that is about discernment. That is that seeking what is truth and what isn't. What is real and what is necessary but not helpful. Sometimes things are not helpful. Sometimes we have this major set of fears that come along and we're like, well, which ones are legitimate? How do I protect myself? What do I need to let go of? That cage, there's only one cage. You'll probably only need 1 or 2 fears that are legitimate. The rest of them are just noise. They're flapping around. They're distracting you. They're keeping you from seeking that higher information, that higher knowledge. So try to shut them out. If you can, this week, every day, take at least 5 to 10 minutes and go outside and just be. Just go outside and breathe. Just go outside and listen. Just go outside and feel the air and the energy. You know? And just get a little outside time, because I feel like Spirit really wants to talk to you. And so this discernment and this fear, let's see what that has to do with. Okay, so trying to find the harmony, trying to find the balance. What's important, what's worth keeping, what needs to be let go of. That makes so much sense with everything else I'm seeing here. This is interesting. So, this is a card of, I get to decide my future. I'm doing a little dreaming. My journal is empty. I get to think ahead. I get to see what I want to do. And look, she's protected from the elements. And so these fears seem a little unfounded. Most of them probably are. And this is that looking for the path. Lifting yourself up and taking a deep breath. This is about breathing. This is about air. But also taking a look around and seeing things from a little bit of a different perspective. There's so much more, right? There's so much more to see. There's so much more to know. There's just so much more. The moon is going to move in to Sagittarius on Friday at 11:05 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that is in your house of spirit. That is in your house of long-distance travel, your higher knowledge, higher learning. And so this week feels to me like a week of just seeking information, figuring out where the boundaries are, where the healthy boundaries are, and having the willpower to impose them on yourself, on others. You know, what is it that you're trying to figure out? Where are you trying to go with all this? And then focusing your energy. Focusing your energy, because what you are thinking about is what you're going to create. See the butterfly on her forehead? What she's focusing on is what she's going to create. That's where the creative energy comes. It doesn't come because I think about it, I'm going to just magically make it happen. No, but when you think about something, then you direct your actions toward it. And so if you would like to have more information, if you'd like to be more enlightened, then you spend time researching, or you spend time quiet space, speaking to spirit, reaching for the sunlight, allowing yourself to heal, breathing in the air, exchanging your air. That's what plants do. They exchange air. Okay, so this is about exchanging air. The plants were about exchanging air. So definitely getting outside, changing up the air. Where is it? Okay, well, this one, she looks like she's in a womb. This one is being protected in a womb. And this one says giving birth. I am bringing forth a dynamic energy into the world. Giving birth. So there is something that you are really interested in. There's this blank page that you're trying to decide, how can I bring in this harmony? What are these great ideas I have? What do I need to know? What do I need to listen to? Focusing my attention and my effort on something. You're giving birth to a new thing. This is beautiful. This is really exciting energy. So just take the time. Journal, because she has a journal there. So she's thinking, she's writing, she's go for that walk and figure out what it is. Figure out what it is that you really want to do and what the guidance is. This looks like a really interesting week for you. We come up on that eclipse Tuesday next week. Major eclipse. And so something is going to be exiting your life. So creating space for it through the eclipse energy will allow this new thing to come in. So get ready. Ooh, you have be persistent, silver. So yeah, what you focus on is what you're going to create. And you have the rainbow, connect to spirit in nature. Really? They want you to go for a walk. Huh, I didn't know that. All right, Aries. Well, that looks really good. Leave me a comment. Let me know how it's going. And have a great week, and we'll talk soon.